I'd love to hear, of course, talking about the future is something I'd love to do as we move through these questions today, but I'd love to hear what you've seen from a broker perspective already. I mean, could you share maybe an example or two of how you've seen clients impacted by a cloud outage in the past couple of years?
We had plenty of clients that were affected by the AWS and the Azure cloud outages, specifically if they were transacting e-commerce online. So they were at the point where they couldn't do any business, that they couldn't process any orders. So a lot of loss of revenue, loss of time, reputational damage, people going elsewhere, not utilizing their services. So I mean, it affected everyone. It affected the insurance industry as well. We didn't have emails for a lot of days. So that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. I'm curious, what are like the insurance outcomes for these companies that are affected by these kind of outages?
Well, see, this is the whole thing. So this was something that was kind of unpredicted, obviously. But I mean, if you think about it, we knew it eventually probably was going to happen, but it's tending to happen maybe every other month at this point. There's some type of outages. So I guess the big question was, how do we get it covered and where is it going to fit for coverage? So everybody looked at, obviously, the general liability policy first and to see if the business interruption, if it would be picked up under business interruption. And a lot of those policies have specific exclusions for power outages. Then they looked to their cyber liability policy, thinking that there would be coverage there. And it's a common misconception that there may not be coverage. These type of situations that just occurred with the power outages, they, as I mentioned previously, they were non-malicious type situations. So there was no cyber attack that was involved.
Right.
If your cyber liability policy wasn't broad enough, and this is kind of where we come into play as wholesale insurance brokers specializing in this area, then the insured wouldn't be able to collect under that particular policy. And just because it has to do with your systems, you think that a cyber liability policy is going to cover it. It's not. You have to make sure the cyber liability policy is broad enough that it actually covers system failures, non-malicious system failures. That's the key. So it has to trigger coverage under the policy, and the part of the policy form that coverage this under a cyber liability policy that covered those type of power outages was specifically business interruption, but dependent business interruption a lot of time. And these aren't coverages that are necessarily included in every type of cyber liability policy that's out there. So it has to be very broad in how the policy is going to be triggered and how the claim is made. In the situation, I think a lot of insureds weren't able to cover any type of expenses under their cyber liability policies because the cyber liability policy was either connected to maybe with an endorsement on another policy, so it wasn't broad, didn't have the coverage, or they didn't have dependent business interruption coverage. Maybe they had business interruption coverage, but it wasn't dependent. And these type of situations would have been considered third-party vendors. So it wouldn't have triggered coverage under the policy unless they had that dependent business interruption extension.